Welcome back to the It's Just Sport podcast, a league of our own. I'm Joanna Reardon.
I'm Niamh. Today we have Mona McSharry with us. First off, congratulations on Olympic qualification. How thrilled were you when you hit that time?
Thank you for having me, and I was so thrilled, over the moon. Like that's been my dream, my ultimate goal, for the last, I want to say, at least over 4 years. So, to finally reach it is amazing.
Yeah, it was even incredibly exciting, being there and seeing you in that moment. Were you actually surprised that you did it, or was it one of those things where you worked so hard, you had such a ridiculous belief in you were like, if I actually don't do this in this time trial, I will drown someone?
It was weird because I had imagined it so much in my head, over the last, I guess, the fact that we had come so close to swimming the trials in 2020, I had already prepared myself so much for how it was going to feel to swim the time, and then even doing it before then, that when it happened I was kind of just oh, this happened. But there definitely was one part of my head being it's okay if we don't make it, it's fine. So I was a little bit shocked when I did it, because that was my first PB in I think 3 years, so it was a little bit shocking, but I knew deep down I could do it, so a bit of both.
A matter of when.
Exactly.
In terms of obviously the games are coming hard and fast now, and you're talking about a bit of thought around it last year, and now it's getting back into it this year. So what is the overall goal now that you've obviously swum in that 106 region a couple of times now as well?
For me, the big goal for the 2020, now 2021 Olympics was to qualify and then just see what happens after that. I think everything after that's going to be a bonus. So for me, I'm really just taking it one step at a time, and one round at a time. So I'm going to go into the heats, and yeah, like you said, the 106s are coming a lot more fluently now, which is really nice, and it is exciting. So I'm just ready to give it my all and see what happens. I'm at this point, I'll take whatever comes. So it's really exciting.
Does it kind of progress kind of year on year? Kind of last year it was postponed, and then you said you were hitting the 106s. So in your head, last year, would you be oh, it's just great to be there, thanks very much, and as you said, now obviously you're hitting a lot more 106s. So is there a little bit more in your head where you're Jesus, actually I could progress quite far, if the 106s and other times kind of keep coming through and I keep hitting and moving further down the line?
Yeah, definitely. I think swimming at Europeans and being able to do the full 3 rounds and making it to the final at a senior meet, there's a lot of top competition in Europe, and those will be the same ladies that I'm racing against, plus more at the Olympics. So it is really exciting to think about that. And of course I'll be shooting for a semi-final, which I think is very much within my within what I think I can do. And yeah, it is exciting to think about that, to not only race at the Olympics, but maybe make it out of the heats into a semi, and then see what happens after that, maybe make a final. But yeah, it's all very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. We're all I think everyone's been so excited for the Tokyo Olympics for so long at this stage. Obviously, you have moved over to the States, you've started in Tennessee, and I know you mentioned in your post chat with Joanne after you qualified about the switch to yards from meters, that it almost took away the kind of the constant thought about where you're swimming, what the times are, because you have to do a lot of sums in your head to do those conversion times. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people ask me is it because of America that I swam the time, and of course the year over there has been amazing, but there was a lot of work that went on before that. But I think the best thing about going to America was that switch in concentration. I was no longer just training for the Olympics, which was something I had pretty much done for the 3 previous years. It was always the Olympics, whereas now I had a new set of goals, which was swim as fast as I can for a team. And all the people I was surrounded by, yes, they knew what my outside targets were and they helped me work on those as well, but for the most part no one really else was going for that, and it wasn't something that was spoken about all the time. And I think that really helped me, because I got to train and race and compete, but in another arena, basically, in yards. And I couldn't swim, let's say, a race and be like comparing it to my meters races, because you can't do that. So it was really nice to, on one end, be training for the Olympics without being training for the Olympics, which was really, I think it really helped me.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like one of those things where you know your end goal is of the Olympics, but it's kind of like you're at A, you have to get to Z, but you kind of don't have B, C, and D? Like, is that kind of what Tennessee kind of helped you to do, to like plan the little bits in the middle that would eventually like make you get to the Olympics?
Yeah, I think it definitely gave me more to fill in the middle with, which was really nice. Rather than just jumping straight from the start to the end and only having that one target. I went to a load of different things in between, which was really nice. And I think mentally, like at the end of the day, your body is going to achieve what your mind wants it to. And I think I struggled for a long time just doubting myself. And that almost really made it harder for me to swim fast, because I was going into races already waiting for a bad time. So I think like being able to just take that out of it and the stress of that and just racing, like the best thing about yards is I'd never raced yards. So when I swam and I got a time, it was like, okay, that's a time.
It's a PB.
Because I don't have any other times. So it was really nice to just race again and compete and not be looking at the time, I guess.
In terms of like the competitions, like it looks like it's loads of fun over there, and like there's lots of racing going on. It's a pretty big squad, which, I guess collegiate swimming over there, depending, like obviously you're in a college that there's emphasis on swimming, where like Irish swimming, at the age that you're at, there's actually not that many people swimming at like 18, 19, 20 years old. So how has that been? Because like you're swimming with a group of your peers, so like it must be fun because you're all in the same kind of situation and that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it is. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else at the moment. I think it would have been really hard. I did a year of just training by myself, and I've always pretty much swam by myself. The last couple of years anyway. So to kind of change from that and be with a huge group of women that are all the same age as me, and we're all going to college together, and we all have like regular problems, but we're also all really committed to swimming, is really nice. And I think, you said it yourself, there's not that many of them in Ireland, and we're also spread out that it's hard to come together all the time. And I think, it's great that I do have that motivation in training every day. And like the competitions are just a lot of fun. And even outside of those competitions, we do so much in training that's fun, like competing all the time. And, we have such a big team that we can do that. And it's really nice. I'm really enjoying it.
Not to go like full like movie like Coach Carter like on you or anything like that, but like, is it like as like student first, athlete second, or like what's it like over in Tennessee? Like what are like what's it like? I suppose what I'm asking is, what's it like to be a student athlete over in Tennessee and someone who's like living the scholarship dream? Like,
yeah, they definitely put an emphasis on school, which I like, because I think if they didn't, I probably would just drift away from school, because I don't really know what I want to do college-wise yet. I'm more there for the swimming side of things. So it's good that they're pushing me in that direction. Us as a swim team, the women's swim team, hold ourselves to a really high standard GPA-wise. It gets put together at the end of the year. So everyone does their part to make sure that the team GPA is good. And I think like that's really good. And there definitely is, I haven't heard of it because we all work really hard, but there is situations where if you're not doing good in school, you won't be allowed to swim. And I think that's good. So it is a little bit like that, but I haven't witnessed it because we're all so committed to wanting to swim and I guess doing well in school. So it works out well.
Tell us a bit about like the competitions and stuff over there, because like I know there's so many intercollegiate, like I don't know whether it's leagues or like different meets and stuff. Like I know there's Big 10 and Big 12, and like depending on what sport you're in, like there's so much going on. What's that like? Because there's obviously loads of talented swimmers across all the United States colleges, like, and to then come in like compete against each other must be really cool.
Yeah, no, it is. We're in the SEC conference, so we compete there. That'll be like Big Tens and all that, but that's our conference. And then we go NCAAs at the end of the year. And I experienced them within a COVID year, so I feel like getting to experience them next year is going to be completely different again. But it is just insane how team orientated they are, and you do everything for the team, and you race for the team, and it's very much a collective group, and that's the same with all college teams, I feel like you see over there. And it's really enjoyable because you have these little rivalries with other colleges too, and you kind of just you step into a team, you kind of get those, and that just happens. And I think that's all part of college racing, but it's just amazing, like the atmosphere when you're competing, and you have all these women like cheering for you, and then you get out of the pool and there's someone else ready to give you a high five right beside you. It's really enjoyable. It is. I think it kind of takes me back to when I was like 11 or 12, and I used to do it's called the Southwest Minor League, but it was basically like a little competition that we used to do between 4 or 5 swim clubs here in the around like Sligo, Ballyshannon area. And it was just a lot of fun because it was very points based. Like you didn't win medals, you just won points for your team. And it just kind of takes me back to that, and it's just so much fun because it's different than like racing for yourself and just racing to win.
Who are your rivals in like Tennessee? Like I know obviously like in football you've got like Bruins and Trojans, you've got like Ohio State, like and all this kind of stuff. So like who are Tennessee's like swim rivals? Like who walks in and you're like those gals over there?
One of our like top rivals would be Florida, University of Florida. So they're like, when we see them, we're like, oh, we're gonna beat. And we sadly, because of COVID, we didn't get to compete against them in a dual meet last year. So I'm excited to get to just compete against them like one-on-one, because we did see them at SEC and we've seen them at NCAAs, but I think it's more enjoyable when it's one-on-one because you have more of a clear winner and loser, someone goes to Whalers, and it would be a lot of fun to do that. So hopefully we can travel to them or they can travel to us for the next season, and we can do that.
This is really random, but like, how many pools are in Tennessee? This is a super random question.
I have no idea, but
that means more than one.
Yeah, on our campus we have the 50-meter training pool, which can split into 2 yard pools, and then we have a 25-yard diving well in that facility, and then just across the street there's another 50-meter pool, and that's like the college pool, so we don't really train there unless there's work going on in our one. And then we also have an outdoor 50-meter pool another few steps away, so those are our pools.
Yeah, no, it's nuts because like I know Joanne mentioned Ohio State, and I've seen their pools, like the size of that campus is absolutely enormous. And like I kind of went on a little tour, we'll say, around there, and it's funny because it actually like the feel of the campus was very much like a UCD, like the sports center. It was kind of like similar, but then the amount of swimming pools they had, I was like, whoa. It's
like the money they have to just put into that. Like when you think like there's 3 50-meter pools within like literally a stone throw of each other, and then in Ireland we only have about 4 or 5 50-meter pools altogether.
Totally.
So, like,
That's mad.
Yeah.
Niamh, did you do like did you swim in every pool along the way, like in Ohio?
No. No, I had my second cousin actually goes to college there, and she's doing a bit of swimming there, and she was like, oh, do you want to, like, she was bringing her in, so she was showing it to me at like the first team we're training at that time, and then she's like, oh, and if you just like come over here, there's like 2 pools in like one place, and she's like, if you come over here you can like come see another one, and she's like, oh, and across campus there's another one, and I was like, okay. I was like, there's a lot of swimming pools here. But it's pretty, it is like some of the colleges over there, like the facilities are unbelievable. Not that in some of the colleges and universities here, like depending on the sport you're in or whatever college it might be, like there's lots of good stuff here as well. Ellen is going to be joining you next year, so what's that going to be like? You're going to help get her settled in?
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I think it's just crazy that I remember when she told me, and I was like, there's so many colleges in America, and like you're coming to this one, like that's insane. But I think it's going to be great. I haven't really chatted to her much until I seen her at trials, and then we went to Europeans together and had, a chance to chat a little bit more about it. And, she's really excited, and I'm kind of excited to, have someone coming in the next class that I already know. So I think that'll be really great. And I guess it's good for her that I'm there too. So I can like give her some hints and tips, I guess, as well, which is just great.
What's the like recruitment kind of like process, like for ye, like I think we've all seen like, I don't know, Last Chance You, like, and all that kind of stuff on Netflix. So like, we all have an idea what it's like with basketball and football. Like, how do you get recruited to the likes of Tennessee? Like, not to sound too dumb.
No, well, for me, it was after World Juniors in 2017 when I won the 100 breaststroke. There was a lot of different like college people there, and I got a lot of offers after that in the coming months from different colleges that were offering scholarships and whatnot. And did I want to talk and everything? And then I guess from there, I was still quite young. I was only 17 and kind of just parked it for a while. I knew it was something I wanted to do, but just was like, I'll look at it later. And then when I finally decided, I kind of like gathered everything and started contacting a couple of places. And then for me, you're allowed, I think, 5 official visits to different colleges. And that's like 48 hours paid for once you land on campus and they like walk you around. So I did 2 official trips. And then just decided that Tennessee was for me, and did a lot of paperwork after that basically so I could get out there. But it was easy enough. Like you just kind of have to, I guess, be willing to take a few phone calls and chat and stuff, which they're willing to do as well, which is really nice. And they like show you around campus and stuff. It's crazy how much energy and like effort they put into recruiting athletes too, which I guess is good. So yeah.
Sorry about the dog. I have no idea what she saw. Like, I'm looking out the window and I'm like, there's nothing there. Ollie.
Oh no, I had a question, but now it's gone out of my head.
Sorry,
we're talking about the dog. It was about the college. Oh, yeah, so in terms of like making a decision to go over to the States, like obviously we have had, say, like track athletes have gone abroad, like Villanova. We've had lots of Irish people go there. Obviously Fiona Doyle went to Canada. So we have had a few people that have gone across the States or Canada, but were you like nervous about going over, or you were pretty sure that was something you wanted to do because it's not in Europe? If like the UK is obviously closer, it's not quite Australia, but it still is like, I mean, Tennessee it's a good few hours away,
Yeah. I think it's always been on the agenda for me. I love to travel, and I have my whole life. So I think moving away from home in that aspect never really, like, I knew it was going to be tough, but at the same time I was too excited to get like worked up about it. So it has always been something that I wanted to do. And I think around that, when I started to get offers, I kind of thought about it more seriously. And my coach, my old coach, Grace Mead, her sisters live in America, and I guess she kind of pushed the idea too, that it would be a good idea. And now that I've made the decision, I guess I'm glad I did. But it didn't really hit me in a negative way until the morning I was leaving for America, and realized that I had to say goodbye to my family and everything. And that's probably the only moment where it really, like, I honestly considered being like, maybe I don't want to go, like I want to stay here. But apart from that one moment, even like since I've been over there hasn't been a time where I've been like, oh, I wish I was at home. So it's, I think that's just the person I am though as well. I don't mind traveling, and I guess swimming's helped with that too, because I have done a lot of travel.
So Tennessee is quite similar to Sligo anyway, so tis grand out.
Yes, the same.
Tis all the same.
But it is, like, I mean, in terms of some of the places that you can go in the States, like, they can be so different to home. Like, there's a girl that I know went to play basketball in Texas, and she said, like, the college that she was in was totally different to home. Like, sometimes, like, East or West Coast can be a bit more comparable to maybe, like, Europe and, like, the like views that we have, or like what we're used to a little bit. But then sometimes you go to like Amy, I can't remember where she went to college, but she said it was quite different to like, I guess, people's culture here. She was like, where I can't remember, she might have been Texas as well, but she said that it's like, it takes a bit of getting used to sometimes. So Tennessee is different to Ireland.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I think the culture is definitely different to here. Just even like food is different, the way people act is different, and I get like that is strange, but you do get used to it. Like, and I picked I think Tennessee, okay, it's nowhere near the sea, which is a tragedy, but like there is, we're kind of planted right beside the Great Smoky Mountains, which is like a lovely place to do hiking and stuff. So I have a little bit of nature beside me, which is nice. I don't think I could survive in a like full-on city setting. And I think that like helped my decision because I wanted to be somewhere that wasn't too populated. Now it's still a lot more populated than home, but there definitely is going to be some getting used to when you travel anywhere, I guess. Yeah. And I had to do that, but like the team helped me with that, so it was great. Yeah.
I was going to ask about the food because that can be a shock to the system sometimes. Like the supermarkets can be a bit daunting.
Fried chicken is what I'm thinking here.
Because all the brands over there are like totally different. So if you are doing your own shopping, you go into the supermarket, you're like, right, which ones? Because like obviously you hear everything about the like food in the States, like how it can be quite different, like the regulations and everything, and you're like, what's in that?
It's the cereals for me.
I know it was. Yeah, they have so much more options, but they're not necessarily healthier. And I do like to eat on the healthy side. I think the first time I went to the shop, I spent so much time just wandering around the aisles trying to find everything I needed. They do sell Kerrygold butter. I'm probably paying an arm and a leg for it compared to normal butter, but I buy it. And what else did I? Oh, Jacob's cream crackers. I love eating those, and I found a store in America that sells them. It's in the like international section. So I go there and clean it out.
She has her crackers and her butter, and she's sorted.
This is like as exciting as when I lived in England, and I went to, like my friend lives in Bradford, and I was like, oh, I'll go to visit her, and she was like, did you know we have a Dunn's here in Bradford? And I was like, sign me up. Like, why didn't you ever tell me this?
Yeah. It's all the adjusting. Talk to us a little bit about like body image and swimming and that kind of thing. You know, we're trying to encourage young girls to stay in sport, whatever sport it might be. And obviously, like, you know, the sport like swimming, sometimes there can be like, I guess, people experiencing like self-consciousness from, you know, if they start swimming like they're 6 and 7, they probably haven't got care in the world, and then by the time you're 12, 13, you might have a little bit more thinking about what you look like or aware of other people around you, when realistically we know most people aren't actually looking at you. So if anyone's listening to it, they're probably not looking at you, don't worry. But what would your kind of advice be?
I think, you know, I have to remember, I can't remember who told me it before, but it's something that's stuck in my head that, like, you know, this is, I guess, my machine, if I like, or like my tool. My body is my tool, and it's, you know, what I use to go fast and, you know, do what I want to do. And, you know, there are definitely times when I struggle. You know, I have broad shoulders. I'm quite lean and muscular, and, you know, there's definitely times where I wish that, you know, I'd love to slim down a little bit just so I don't look so muscular. And I think, you know, but everyone struggles with different things, whether, you know, you're super athletic or whatever body shape that I don't think anyone's ever going to be fully happy with their body, and I think that's something that I struggle with. But at the same time, I do have to think about, you know, if I do go leaner, am I going to go as fast? No, I'm not. And, you know, I have to just decide that, like, this is what I need, and that's the bigger picture. But it definitely is difficult, and I think, you know, I do struggle with it like everyone else does, and that is hard. But at the same time, you know, my body has a job to do, and, you know, I'm going to fuel it right, and I'm going to train, and I'm definitely not going to stop anything just so I can look a little bit different or whatever way I want to look, because I don't think, you know, even if I did slim down, I'd probably be upset then that I lost my muscle. So I don't think there's a perfect
that's what Beth said.
Yeah.
Beth literally, like, we were talking to Beth a few weeks ago, and she was like, oh yeah, like, and said the same thing about her shoulders. She was like, you know, I thought this when I was swimming, and then she was like, and then since I've stopped, she was like, and now I'm like, whoa, where's the definition in my shoulders? So she was like, on either side of it, like you're saying, people have different like concerns or worries, and like what you're saying, like, it is your machine, and we've had athletes tell us that before. And I guess what we're trying to like encourage girls that are involved in sport to do is like enjoy your sport and you know, don't be compromising you know, your performance just to feel like you need to look like a certain way or that you should, because like you're saying, if you do look that way, you still might not be happy, and it's like you get so much out of sport and like so much enjoyment from things, and it's really important. Like there has to be like we kind of talk about social media and stuff a bit sometimes, and how like people see different things on social media or magazines or whatever it might be, and like we know on social media, like there's so many people that are altering what they look like and everything, and it's not even true. So like most of it's a myth.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, even nowadays, like people saying that, like, you know, when you stand a certain way and you look better, and then you like, or you know, you're sucking in your tummy, like nothing is like real. And if, like for that 1 second photo, it's just not, like, you got to live your life as well. And that's, you know, I got very worked up even on the other side of it, like food and sugar intake and all that. I do like to eat healthy, but that's because I enjoy eating healthy and I feel good when I eat healthy. But I also like to treat myself, and there was definitely a period in my life where I thought that you know, I had to really be very strict with myself on the amount of sugar I was taking in, because it would affect my body negatively. And that was making me a little bit upset too, because I wasn't treating myself. And I think, you know, you need to do that. It's not, you know, everything in moderation, of course, but like I've taken a step back from that aspect of looking at it too, and allowing myself, you know, a biscuit with a cup of tea, or, you know, a snack in the evening, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it because I deserve it. And, you know, it's not going to make a huge difference at the end of the day either. And I think, you know, you really have to just be nicer to your body, and just be happy and enjoy life, because you're only going to get one chance at it. There's no need to like be worried about how you look or how other people are going to look at you, because, you know, at the end of the day, just live life.
Have that biscuit with the tea is Mona's advice.
Definitely. And like it's so important to be eating enough as well, like obviously sleep and hydration and stuff, but like in terms of like fueling, and especially as a teenager, like you're growing, and if you're doing a sport like swimming or whatever it might be, like there's a huge volume of training there to be fueling. So I know it can get tiring, like sometimes you feel like you're training so much, you have to eat so much, like it can be like almost tiring, but like you do need to get that in, because it can kind of become a vicious circle if you don't fuel yourself enough.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, food is, well, I love food. So, and if you're eating the right things, you know, it can only be good for your body. And like, I enjoy cooking and like making the good food. So that's definitely something that like is not hard for me, but I'm blessed as well, because my mom is a great chef and she's taught me all of her best dishes, so that's great too.
What's a McSharry like specialty? Like what's like, I'm coming to your house tomorrow, what am I getting?
Jeez, invite yourself over.
I may as well.
A homemade lasagna with homemade pasta sheets and all. Or any type of homemade pasta, honestly. My mom makes pasta, which is just great with anything.
That's wild. Like I literally sat with the happy pair while they made pasta, and I was like, fair play to you, but the store-bought stuff will do me for now.
Obviously, like some of the other things that girls worry about, like, well, actually, first I want to ask you, in terms of the training that you're doing now and that you've been doing for the past few years, have you ever monitored your menstrual cycle or adjusted your training to kind of work with your menstrual cycle? Because, you know, there's kind of different periods sometimes where you can really kind of capitalize on, say, weight training or something like that. Have you gotten down into like the fine art of some of that science, or you don't overthink it and just keep going for it? Yeah,
I haven't really, but that's more because my cycle is very irregular, so it would be very hard to like make a set plan, because like you wouldn't be able to make a plan. It would almost be like waiting to see. So I think that's haven't really, I never really focused on it that much because of that. But we definitely, on the other side, like especially me and my old coach had a really good relationship, that, you know, like she would know, like I'd tell her, and, you know, I was blessed that I could do that now. And then, you know, if I ever felt fatigued, we'd maybe ease up a little bit one day, and then we can, you know, put it in later in the week when, you know, I know I'm going to be stronger and more able, because there's no point in, you know, beating your body down when it's already, you know, doing so much. But in general, I never really looked into it too closely. But yeah, that's because mine's just extremely irregular.
Yeah, there's loads of science like starting to kind of come to the forefront, and it is a difficult thing. Like you're saying, not everybody's regular, or it may not suit necessarily the sport or the program. Like it's, if you have like a team of athletes, like it's a tough thing to do, and like we've seen it done in football in the States, but it typically is professional teams. But I imagine over the next couple of years, I guess in terms of the US, I was just wondering how they kind of explored that. But I think we'll see it come to the fore a little bit more over the next few years. But again, it's like, it's something that's interesting, but like people don't need to like worry about, like, don't overthink it either. It's interesting to see like that people are using it, but you have to just kind of keep going with stuff as well.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to like know more about it. But yeah, in terms of like then going back to like young girls and like obviously like that, those body changes and stuff, like when you were younger and like swimming and first got your period, like do you remember that? What was that experience like?
I was older, as in like I got it, I think like 14 or 15, so I was like late getting it too. But I definitely remember like the first couple of times, and you know, and like having to use tampons and stuff like straight off the bat, because like I can't exactly like go with a pad into the pool.
There's no other option.
So, like, no. So that I guess was a little bit strange, you know, to like straight away go into that, because I feel like but I think the fact that I was also a little bit older made it easier too. And it was weird, and it's an annoying, it was annoying to think about and have to like worry about that, I guess, as well, especially because back then I still would have been training, you know, in club setting. And you know, it's definitely on your mind, and you're like, oh my god, like, am I bleeding right now on the like pull deck? We never know. But like I think you just kind of have to like get through the first couple of times, and then it gets easier and easier. And now it's like something that just happens, and it's like it's a little bit annoying, but you know, I just get through it. I will say I am blessed though, like I don't have a lot of symptoms, and it's irregular, so I don't get it exactly every time, which is, I guess, nice. So I'm one of the luckier ones, but I do know people that have more problems, and I feel for them. And I know it can be really challenging, especially, you know, when you know you have a job to do and you have training to do, and you just don't feel like doing it, or you're in so much pain that you just like can't. But yeah, no, it definitely was a bit weird, and it took a bit of time to get used to, for sure, but it didn't stop me. Still going, so it's good.
Yeah, no, I think definitely people like can be worried about it, and like it's totally normal. And I think like for, you know, girls that are starting to get their period or worried about maybe getting their periods, like everybody else has gone through it, and like any of the girls that like are around your age or maybe a little bit older, like maybe talk to them or like ask them for advice. Like it doesn't need to be like an awkward taboo topic. I guess like in terms of like, especially because yours is irregular, like what would your advice be? Because you know, you need to be prepared. I think that's one of the things that we've like talked about. Like you need to like have everything in your bag just in case, like be ready to rock.
Yeah.
I guess
I think like that's the.
Go on.
No, you go. Go ahead.
No, just in terms of swimming, like you actually mentioned, like it's poolside actually that you were worried about, because when you're in the water, it's not a problem. Like I think people have this illusion that like you're going to be swimming up and down, and if like you need to change your tampon or something, so like that there's like this trail of blood behind you, and like let's be realistic, like it doesn't happen. Like everyone's like, no, I could not go swimming. But like I think what people don't realize is, unless you're out of the water, you're not going to notice. So if you do like leak or whatever, it's not going, no one is going to know in the water, which I think is actually something that people don't realize.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've never had like an incident like that where anything like that's happened, and you don't see it in the water. And even like normally you'll know, and like yourself, like if you've seen it like dripping down your leg or something, and you can go before anyone ever notices. No one takes that stuff in. People are just like extremely worried themselves, I think, and they'll notice and think that everyone else. that's not the case. But yeah, I think the most important thing is to just be prepared. And also, you know, if you're not prepared, don't stress about it, because like, especially if you're training in a club, you've got, you know, 10, 15 other women there that are more than happy to help you out. And yeah, you know, like that, if you're stressed, go to someone and talk to them about it. It doesn't have to be this big like taboo conversation. You know, everyone deals with it, and it's not a secret, and it doesn't have to be. I think, you know, it should definitely be spoken about more, and I think that's great. And, you know, yeah, just be more comfortable about it, because, you know, you can't stop it from happening, and there's no need to hide it. It happens, and it happens to everyone.
Yeah. No, that's definitely why we try and talk about it more, is like, you know, I think people are going to leave sport for different reasons anyway, but if some of the reasons are something like, you know, whether it be period or body image, or like sometimes people talk about like shaving, like, you know, whether it's your legs under your arms, whatever it is, and like people do, like, particularly in like, I think early teenage years, like people do like freak out about that kind of stuff a lot, and it's something that I think once you get to a certain age, you're kind of like, okay, like I've learned to deal with it. But they're the people that have obviously like made it through. So there surely has to be like 10 or 15% of people that if someone just kind of helped them along the way, or people were a bit more open or supportive, that would actually have a bigger volume of people participating in sport because they felt comfortable. And like realistically, in terms of like periods and stuff, like half the world gets them. So like we just need, like the boys need to, like, you know, be open about it as well, and be like, oh, okay, like everyone just needs to kind of understand that like that's what happens, it's a totally normal thing, and like not be worried. But look, these things happen, like people are gonna leak, it does happen, like you're talking about, like if there's a little bit of blood in your leg, like just like off you go to the bathroom, just own it. I don't know. I am speaking from experience, John. Okay.
I just have like an image of like Niamh like strutting around, like having no issues with that. That's just my image that I have in my head.
Okay, I'll officially share a story. Okay, so I'd say I was like 13, and I did swim, and it did happen to me. And I remember like one of the older girls, like, or somebody noticed or something, one of the older girls noticed, and it happened to her when she was like 15. But when it happened to her, some other girl drew attention to her, and like, instead of just like walking out with her or like telling her. So when it happened to me, that girl was like, okay, she's like, come on, we're going to the bathroom. I was like, okay. And like, where I used to swim, like we used to have to walk in front of, like, I used to be out of the pool, you used to walk in front of all the parents down to the bathroom. Like the door to get out was not like close. So like people do worry about that, but like happened, and I was like, okay, well, we're just gonna, I don't know, it might have been like the third or fourth time that I had it, and like that was it. I'm like, I mean, I'm here now, this is going to be published on a YouTube channel, so clearly I'm, you know, and like it happened to my sister at a different point. Like it happens to lots of people, and if there's just people in that environment, no matter what sport it is, because I know we've talked about like football or like whatever it is, like stuff like gymnastics, ballet, like that's similar to swimming. You are in the same type, like athletics as well. But then you're talking about all the different sports that have shorts and are white, like these things happen. So rather than people like freaking out about it, they actually just need to have an environment where people are like supportive of each other. You don't have the athletes freaking out, you don't have the coaches freaking out, you just have everyone like, yeah, it's totally normal, because like realistically it is. So if anybody's worried, yeah, it might happen, it's going to be okay. You can tell somebody it's a cut in your leg, because it happened to me then when I was older, and I was like, oh, I must have a cut in my leg, and I was like, I'm going to the bathroom, I'll be back in a minute. And like, it's like, you're going to get over it. So now everybody knows my big secret, okay?
My big secret.
Well, me and Orla did an episode like of the period panel and talked about swimming. I didn't actually tell that in the episode, but now everybody knows, okay?
It's a safe space, guys. It's a safe space. That's all I can say.
Well, it's safe because it's just three of us talking now. This is will be published soon and everybody will know. But I'm totally okay. If anyone wants to talk, send me a message.
Three of us for the time being.
Let's talk about Ireland's fittest family, okay? How was that? It looked like so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. Like, it's basically obstacle courses for adults, which is what I felt like I was doing. And there was a bit of competition in there. Why not?
Oh, and a win at the end.
Yeah.
Casually. Just casually.
The way we do it. We have to win. No, it was really good fun. We kind of just entered it because well, I had glandular fever earlier that year, so I didn't have anywhere to go that summer. So it was like, right, perfect. This will be the one summer that I actually don't have to like travel for competition. Let's do it. And we kind of just like entered, didn't really expect to like, well, probably didn't think about like making the final or anything, and we just were moving through the rounds, like whatever about it. And then yeah, just made it to the final, and it was so like stomach turning, like butterflies in your stomach. Like it's funny because when you think back now, like it was just a race, like, and it was, you know, it wasn't like, yeah, it was for Ireland's first family, but like it was a lot of fun, but like in the moment it was nerve-wracking. I remember my dad talking to me about it afterwards, and he was like, I don't know how you do that all the time, Mona, like standing on the blocks like ready to race. It was horrible. I don't like it. So it's like funny to like hear other people talk, because like that is kind of like my job, I guess. Like swimming's my job, and like getting those nerves and like racing and competing, that's what I do like on a regular basis. But like yeah, it was good fun to do Ireland's Fist. It was like a different type of competition, and I got to do it with my family, so it was good.
You literally lived like my family's dream of doing it. Like I swear to God, it's like the annual discussion in our house of like who would go, who's being nominated, and that kind of stuff. So like, what were like the like worst races? What were like the best races? What did you find tough? Because I remember like there was one bit, there was like a tiny bit of a swim, and like my mom, like she's not really into like, you know, like other sports that don't have a ball. And I was like, oh yeah, sure, Mona's like a swimmer. She was like, what? And I was like, yeah. So like in her head, she was like the family you were competing with. And she was like, oh my God. Like, could you imagine if you were like training your heart off and like, you know, next thing this swimmer pops up out of nowhere. And I was like, oh my God, you actually need to calm down. So like what for you were like the worst races, like the best races? Like what did you find were like, you know, oh, I didn't realize this would be that challenging. So basically my parents want to know about the wall. That's really it. And I'm done with the questions.
The most challenging one for me was the hanging tough, because there's not a lot you can do during that. You can't exactly hang harder. Like it's you just hang, like it's, and that was stressful because it was kind of out of my control. My favorite was probably hell and back, when we did like the swimming through the mud and stuff. Yep. I would actually love to do like a hell and back course after just experiencing those little bits. I really enjoyed that. And then we actually built like an 11-foot wall here at the house, and practiced trying to get over it. And it was a lot higher than anything we actually came across. We only had to get over one wall in the end, I think, just in the final one. And we had practiced our strategy of like how to get up. And basically it's all dependent on my brother Morik, because the other three can't get up the wall by ourselves. So it was him helping us up, and then us just, I don't know, going on while he tries to jump it himself. So that was our strategy for that. But no, we kind of just tried to, I guess, best prepare as we could, which is difficult because we didn't really know what was coming up. You know, there's walls every year, and I guess hanging tough every year. But like apart from that, it was just about trying to be all around good at a lot of different things. But yeah, it was nice.
You're like, Niamh, I know you're laughing at like her setting up a wall. I kid you not. In one of my doorways in our house, we have a little like line going across it, and my siblings challenge each other to hanging tough every single time Toughest Family is on. I'm like, I just need to go to the bathroom, and they're like, but it's only been 2 minutes, I can hang on more. And I'm like, I know, but I really need to pee. Like it's constant. Like I swear, like it's life consuming.
I can't believe, like, we talk to each other every single week, and I can't believe that you are telling me that that's a surprise, because I thought you would have known me better by now.
No, but like, I'm just...
What do you think happened to my house?
No, but at least like you're like competitive like athletes. Like all my siblings are over 30 and have children. Like you think they should...
Yeah, so what?
Like you think they should just... I mean, it's really funny because
I did it with my dad. I'd be like, okay, we did the wall sit. Like 3 of us did the wall sit, and
we did that too, yeah.
And we did. I know we talked about it before, but obviously, like everybody's had like a tough time during like lockdown, and the team that I'm involved in, we made up like 4 teams, and we had like a fun challenge and a physical challenge every week. So one of the one of the weeks it was a combined team wall sit, and then another week there was like one-legged squats, there was like all these like different things, but like some of them were from like Fittest Family, and people were like, oh, like how can we, there was like the log one that happened this year. They're like, does anybody like have a log at home that they could hang off? And we were like, I'm not sure that we're going to get that one figured out this time, but yeah, we do the hang tough one pretty regularly, like when we're down in the gym. Again, some of us are not so good at it, but
safe environment though, safe environment. You're not doing it in the doorway of the bathroom.
One of the guys did do 20 minutes for the wall sit.
Stop.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, no, and my sister actually did it for like quite some time because we had to do it over Zoom, so people were doing it on Zoom and like shouting at their teammates. They're like, you cannot drop. But yeah, this is how people kept themselves entertained during lockdown, I'm telling you. But tell us about like other sports and stuff. Did you play anything else when you were younger, or was it always just swimming?
It was kind of always swimming. I did a little bit of athletics, but that was more so for aerobic stuff for swimming. Like I enjoyed a little bit of running, but like it really was just for swimming. I kind of regret not doing more when I was younger, just trying other things. Like I've always known that swimming is a sport I love, but still like watching other sports, and I guess that's the one thing that maybe I wish I'd tried a couple more out just when I was younger to at least have a little bit of an understanding of some other sports and have played them when I was younger, because I don't really have the time now to start entering into other sports. But yeah, no, I was pretty much strictly a swimmer from the start.
And who were your like role models growing up? Like, because it's interesting to ask different people to see who they kind of looked up to.
It's bounced around a lot. Like you mentioned Fiona Doyle and even Sharika, like I used to look up to them. I remember the first time I met Fiona Doyle was at like Irish trials maybe in 2014 or something, and I was sitting in the call room with her, and all I remember is her sitting with a hat and gloves on for like heat protocol, and like this is before I knew what that even was, and I was looking at her like, what the hell is she doing? We're sitting inside a pool, I'm sweating here in my swimsuit. But like I have looked up to her, but one that's kind of like stayed consistent throughout and I still look up to now is probably Katie Taylor. I love her. I just think like she's class. She works really hard at what she does, and I just admire her. And that there's been a few others, but those are probably like the main ones.
Interesting that you were obviously exposed to female role models. I know 2 of them for you were in swimming, and it's great that you had swimmers before you that were obviously achieving. And I know you've Fiona obviously was swimming breaststroke as well, so it's easy like for you to look at Fiona and be like, I want to be like you. But it is great when you hear that some female athletes like are being looked up to, because obviously that's what we're trying to do is give like female athletes like the exposure, and that like young girls or boys can look up to them as much as, because like lots of times like we get people and they were like, yeah, when I was younger I didn't really know that many female athletes, and that's like, it's not right. They should know the female athletes, so obviously that's what we're trying to change.
It's very true. Yeah, no, I can't even think back to like earlier than that. Like my earliest I can think back is probably like when I was 12, and that was another breaststroker swimmer that I knew and watched in the Olympics. And then before that, I haven't even a clue. But yeah, no, it's great. And I think like getting to travel with my sport and meet people like that. And like when in 2015, I went to European junior swimming championships, but they were mashed together with loads of other sports, so we actually stayed in the Olympic Village and Katie Taylor was there, so I got to actually meet her, and that was unbelievable. And we actually went to her fight, and so that was really nice because I met her on, I guess, a more personal level, and it just like showed me like how cool she was, not only just like watching her on TV or like seeing her, but like actually got to watch it in person. That was really nice too. And I guess like it was nice to see that at a young age. I was only 14 at the time, I think, so that was really nice.
Is it kind of cool now? Because, like, you know, you're obviously a role model as well for like some, you know, like young girls. You know, you probably don't want to even like think about it, like just in case. But you know, like other girls who are like aspiring to be a swimmer. You know, going to America, like yourself and Ellen. You know, like, is it kind of cool that you're laying some of the blocks for like future swimmers along the way, or is it just something you don't think about because it's probably just too much sometimes?
It's kind of strange. Like I get letters from like some kids, and they'll tell me like that I'm their role model and they look up to me, and it's so nice to hear, and I will never get sick of hearing it. But it's also like I read it and I'm like, but why? Like, it's strange because I don't think of myself as someone that is going to be looked up to. I just feel like a normal person, I guess. So in a way it's kind of strange, but it's really nice that I'm honored that, you know, I have the ability to somewhat influence some of these little kids and, you know, hopefully teach them and, you know, show them stuff that I've learned along the way, and maybe like tell them before, you know, they make a mistake, or, you know, like sometimes I've learned things the hard way, and it would be nice to, I guess, share my story so they don't have to learn it the hard way, and maybe they have a little bit more knowledge. And, you know, I'm just blessed that I do have a little bit of a like fan club. It's really nice, and it's lovely to be in that position.
Yeah, no, that's deadly. It's really nice to hear that you get letters and stuff, and you should definitely share some of them with us down the line, because I know everyone would go nuts to like see them and would like love, like, it's so great when you hear that like young kids are like looking up to like different athletes and stuff. It's so cute. But yeah, I mean, we have been chatting for a good while. I think it's a really good conversation, and people get a few laughs at some of the stories that are in there. Thanks, Emil, for taking the time to chat to us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.